Alright, so this video is going to have 2 pages on it, so I'm not really going to be doing a whole lot of work on this page. We got the discriminant here. Discriminant was our most recent lesson. You actually might not have had it yet if you're watching this video on Monday night. But basically, the discriminant is simply the b squared minus 4ac that is under the square root sign in the quadratic formula. What happens is if this guy is a positive number, you're going to end up with 2 real answers. If this guy is a negative number, you're going to end up with 2 imaginary answers, which we're going to call complex. And if it's equal to 0, you're going to have 1 real solution that is called a double root. The reason for this is quite simple. As a reminder, you have negative b plus or minus over 2a plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. If this guy right here is positive, you're just going to get 2 different answers, a plus and a minus. If this guy there is negative, you're going to have an I answer, which is the complex answer. And if that guy is 0, you're doing plus or minus 0. So you're going to get plus 0 and minus 0, the same exact answer twice. So just go ahead and do one of these. I don't really think we need to spend too much time doing more than that. I'm just going to do this guy right here, this number 26. So I need to do b squared, which is 0 squared, minus 4 times a times c. It doesn't matter what this number actually is. It only matters if it's positive or negative. So here I have 0 plus 24 multiplied by negative 28. This is definitely a negative number. Because that's definitely a negative number, we have 2 complex roots, or zeros, or whatever you want in this one. I guess it's to state how many real zeros, so 0 real zeros. I read questions. And I wrote the word roots after I said zeros. I guess I have issues sometimes. All right, so let's work through a couple of these. These problems aren't too bad. Square root of negative 25 there is the same thing as the square root of 25 multiplied by the square root of negative 1. That's just going to be 5i. Not too bad. Same exact concept is happening on a lot of these questions, to be honest. The square root of 10 and square root of negative 15 is the square root of 10 times the square root of 15 times square root of negative 1. Please note there are other ways to do this problem. I'm kind of doing it the slower way. There's a little bit of a trick to doing it. I'm not going to go through it right now. You get 150 multiplied by the square root of negative 1. So this 150, we're going to go ahead and do our little factor tree for it. 2 and 75. We got 3 and 25. We got 5 and 5. Circle it. You're going to get it 5 rad 6i. Easy enough. Let's check out a different one. Let's do this one right here, because I think this one looks a little bit more interesting. We got negative 4 multiplied by negative I. You got to remember that I cubed there is equal to negative I. I'm going to make a little list for yourself one more time. I to the 0 is 1. I to the 1 is I squared is negative 1. I cubed is negative I. And I to the 4th repeats the process, and the situation repeats. Times square root of 125 times square root of negative 1. You could do a little factor tree for this. I'm being a little bit lazy right now. I don't feel like doing it. Negative 4 multiplied by negative I multiplied by 5 rad 5 multiplied by I. So you get negative 20 rad 5 multiplied by negative I squared. But negative I squared is the same thing as positive 1, so you get negative 20 rad 5. Easy enough. Let's go to the next page. Boom. Next page is operations with complex numbers. Honestly, not that big a deal. All these problems, you're just kind of doing distributive property and rearranging. It's not that hard. So let's go to a little bit of a tougher one. Let's go to this number 44, because I think this number 44 is more interesting. And I'm going to write it up here, because I have no idea how you're supposed to do this problem in this little tiny bit of room here. I'm just being real. So 5 plus 10i divided by 4 minus 3i. Remember, anytime that you want to start a problem like this, you want to multiply by the complex conjugate of that answer. What that means is you're going to be doing 4 plus 3i over 4 plus 3i. You are only working with the denominator here. You just got to copy the denominator and change the sign. If it was a minus sign here, it's a plus sign there. Do not change the sign in front. You only change the sign that's in between them. After you do this, you have some basics expansion to do. You might call it foiling, whatever it is you want to call it. 4 times 5 is 20. 5 times 3 is 15i there. 10 times 4 is 40i. And 10 times 3 is plus 30i squared divided by, and my trick here as a reminder, just to make life easy, you square this guy, 16 plus 9. If you want to take your time and show more work on that, do some foiling and stuff, that's fine, but it will always just work out to the square of this guy, square of this guy. Simplifying this answer down a little bit more, we have 20 plus 30i squared. That's the same thing as 20 minus 30, so that's going to be negative 10. 15 and 40 are going to add together to be 55i. 16 and 9 become 25. Every single number here is divisible by 5, so I'm going to do that just to make my life easy to start. So I got negative 2 plus 11i divided by 5. And finally, writing my answer, I'll write it here where it actually belongs. Negative 2 over 5 plus 11 over 5i. Easy enough. So here, conjugate pair, I guess this, honestly, if it was like put in the right order, the conjugate pair would be put up there and this would be put down there. But let's just do one of these real fast because they're so easy. 7 plus 4i, conjugate pairs there are 7 minus 4i. And the product of the two is going to be 49 plus 16. I'm going to just square the two, add them together, and that's going to give you 65. That was a fast question. Vertex these problems, I don't know, I'll just do one of them. Negative 5, negative 10. Honestly, these questions are super duper simple. Let's do the last page. 3 pages in one. All right. Rewrite the following functions in vertex form by completing the square, showing your work. All right. So these questions can drive students insane. So I'm just going to go ahead and do one of them here. So step number 1. Got to factor out this negative 5. Remember, this number in front needs to be a 1. And if it's not a 1, you make it a 1. X squared minus 2x. Leave a space, plus 2. This guy is always going to be coming out here. You never, ever put it on the inside there. Now you take this, and we're doing it off to the side. We got negative 2x. Rip x. Divide by 2. And square. As a reminder, this is the guy right there. It's going to go on the inside of the parentheses in a bit. So I'm going to add 1. That's this number here. However, I did not actually add 1. I subtracted 5. So since I subtracted 5, I must add 5 on the outside. Finalizing my answer, negative 5, x minus 1, quantity squared. Again, I got that minus 1 from the star over here. 2 and 5 add together to be 7. And that's vertex form. So vertex is that 1, 7 if you needed it. Your last one here, solving systems of quadratic equations. Really not too hard. Just got to remember to write your final answer in this x, y. That was the most common mistake I saw on those quizzes last week. So all you got to do is set these things equal to each other. Remember, there's like the little brace here. So I'm just going to do 56. So we got x squared plus 2x minus 2 equals negative 4x plus 14. That means we got x squared plus 6x minus 16 equals 0. What multiplies a negative 16 as a positive 6? That's going to be positive 8 and negative 2. So my final answers here are going to be 2 and negative 8 are my x values, but don't stop there like most students did. Plug that 2 back into the equation. So we have y equals negative 4 times 2 plus 14, and y equals negative 4 times negative 8 plus 14. This one up here, negative 8 plus 14 is 6. This one is positive 32 plus 14, which is going to be 46. Finally, 2, 6, and negative 8, 46. And that concludes these videos. If you need more help, come on in to tutoring after school. Have a great rest of your day.